Welcome back to his lineup. So it looks like United have fizzled out completely after playing 57 games this season. They are lacking creativity, lacking cohesion, their counter pressing is off. I don't even know where to begin with this match. This week everyone's looking at it as United just need 3 more wins to get top 4, but it's looking as if they might not even get any wins after how the last few games have been going. Both teams started the match looking to get a goal straight away, whereas United that had the better control of the first periods of the match. They had a few shots from Bruno and Anthony, who should have scored with his chance, but it looked like United were the better team. I immediately noticed that United had really good control over the early periods of the match. I thought that the last time they showed that was against Nottingham Forest, but Eriksen, Bruno and Casemiro, they were keeping the ball really nicely. And especially when United got into West Ham's final third, they were able to circulate the ball well, not losing possession and to sustain attacks. However, around 10 minutes to go to half-time, De Gea made a catastrophic mistake. Benrahma had a very, very tame shot, and De Gea could have saved it or even parried it out for a corner, but he seems to have just missed the ball. He got some contact to it, which is puzzling because it seemed as if the contact he got into it helped it into the goal. So yet another mistake from De Gea. He cost United in the early periods of the season. He's cost United in the Europa League, and he's costing United again. I think that, as we've said time and time again, he just needs to go. He's done well for the club over the last few years, but when you look at certain performances, especially the Champions League against Barcelona, certain Premier League games, he has literally been the culprit as to why United didn't progress. The last few weeks for United have been a cautionary tale of not taking your chances, mixed with individual errors and lack of depth causing issues in game management and when the team rotates. I think the reality is a lot of these United players are just not good enough, whether you're talking about general performances, availability, or just general ability. For me, this includes De Gea, Maguire, both loanees, Fred, McTominay, sometimes Martial, and sometimes Sancho. Because a variation of these players are required to start week in, week out, and let's be honest, they just haven't delivered. And there seems to also be an issue with keeping up and sustaining intensity during a match. In early periods, you see Rashford looking very sharp, Bruno looking very sharp. The midfield, they're able to ping balls around really well. And the defence, I think for most of the match, the defence do quite well. But those levels drop off very quickly in the attack and midfield departments, which leads to so much pressure on the defence, whether they make a mistake and then the other team gets back at them. I feel like there's little help from the midfield and little help from the attack to sustain possession, so that the other team doesn't have an easy run-in at United. Back to the match, West Ham started the second half on the front foot. Surprise. I just feel like most teams don't really have to do much at this point when they're starting the second half, because United start so sluggishly. They start as if they have a 6-0 lead. And they do absolutely nothing to put their foot on the game. There's been little times in the last few weeks that United have, started the second half strong. They either have a really strong first half and a terrible second half, or they have a meh first half and an even worse second half. I also thought this Weghorst experiment, it just didn't work, and I feel like maybe it needs to end, because I know Ten Hag wants to use him for his physicality, but let's be honest, I can only count on one hand the amount of times Weghorst has won an aerial duel or even used his physicality to get into a good goal scoring opportunity. He's 6 foot something, he's 6'4", 6'5", but I have not seen him out jump any defenders or midfielders to that matter. His physicality is there, but he just can't use it. So the rest of the second half just went back and forth. United attack, West Ham attack, but West Ham had so much better attacks. They looked like the better team for almost the whole match. I mean, since Benrahma's goal, they looked like the better team. And it's such a shame because United started the match really well. They started the match on the front foot. They had more possession, more attacks, all they were missing was the finishing. And we've said it time and time and time again, this is just haunting United. This finishing, they need to improve it fast, because there's very important games and there's Champions League to play for, and I know that all these players, they want to be in the Champions League. That is why you join Man United. But they're not making it easy for themselves, They're costing themselves week in, week out. It's been in their hands for the past few weeks, and it seems as if they're just going to let it go to Liverpool. So, I don't know. Ten Hag needs to work some miracles right now. There was definitely an improvement in the attacking play from when Martial was introduced. Sabitzer as well also added to that. But it was just too little too late, I think in some aspects, Ten Hag has gotten some things wrong. Not starting Martial and starting Weghorst. I thought Martial would have been injured, but he looked fit, he looked sharp. So I'm not too sure why he didn't start. You'd want your best players on the pitch early on, and as we've seen, Weghorst usually only starts when Martial is unavailable. But then again, Ten Hag did say that he wanted to use Weghorst's physicality, which I've already commented on. So Declan Rice was by far the best player on the pitch. He covered every blade of grass for West Ham, and he shows United what type of player that they are lacking. I like Casemiro and I like Eriksen, but you need a different mode of player, someone that has energy. These two players are quite old. It shows on the pitch. There were a few saves from Fabianski late on, but apart from that, there wasn't really much to say. Just another disappointing loss. So I think there's 4 more games now, and United need to pretty much win all of them. Brighton are catching them, Liverpool are catching them. It's going to be tight, and again, it's in their hands. They can definitely get some results against Bournemouth, Chelsea, Fulham, but if they will, that's another story. All the players just need to perform. I want to see a bit more of Garnacho now that he's fit. Less of Weghorst, because he doesn't really add anything to the team. But Ten Hag's got a lot of headache to deal with right now, because this team that was flying, they're now crashing, and I think it's easy to see that there's fatigue affecting them. But there's also something else. There's like a lack of team cohesion at the moment. They're not counter pressing as well as they used to. They're not generating good chances. They're not finishing those chances either. So there's a lot of work to be done, but I'm confident that they can still achieve their goals of qualifying for the Champions League. If not finish 3rd, then a 4th finish is definitely a must. But that does it for my recap. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a comment and a like as well. And I hope you enjoy your day. I'll catch you guys later.